Hello, we meet again with another interesting topic. So apart from the laboratory, there are many other places where accidents occur. And for us to prevent accidents or the burdens of accidents, we simply use the first aid. We simply use the first aid. So what do we know about this first aid that we are talking about? And it is related to accident. Okay, so what is first aid? Okay, so we know that first aid is the help given to a sick, injured person before getting professional medical help. Okay, so we have said that this first aid is simply the help given to a sick or injured person before getting professional medical help. Okay, so we can write what we have said so that we don't forget, and for us to have a clear mind of what we are talking about. So make sure you get a book and you start writing the things that we are talking about, because this will be used as your notes so that you can study whenever you are free. Okay, so we have said that the first aid is simply the help, isn't it? So this is the help given to a sick or injured person, isn't it? Or injured person before getting professional medical help, before getting professional medical help. Okay, so any help given to a sick or injured person before getting professional medical help is what we refer to as first aid. So whatever you do to your injured friend or a sick friend, so that the condition cannot go bad, it will be referred to as first aid. Okay, so what is the importance of giving this help to a sick or injured person before he or she gets professional medical help? So in short, we're just saying what is the importance of this first aid. What is the importance of this first aid that we're talking about? So we've got importance of first aid here. So make sure that you follow and write everything that we are talking about, especially the things that I'm writing down. Importance of first aid. So after this lesson, there will be an exercise as usual. So the exercise: answer, capture, and send it in my inbox. Okay, so we've got the importance of the first aid. What is the importance of the first aid? So first of all, try to think before we conclude into writing. So the first aid, it's very important because it helps to preserve life. It helps to preserve life. That's the first one. So number one, helps to preserve life. So for example, if you have a friend and you offer a first aid to him or her, her life can be preserved. Her life can be preserved. It can help him or her from dying, isn't it? Okay, so this is the importance of the first aid. Another importance of this first aid, it's that it prevents the victim's condition from becoming worse. It prevents the victim's condition from becoming worse. So prevents the victim, prevents the victims condition to become or from. Prevent goes with from, so we're going to use from. So prevent the victim's condition from becoming worse. Okay, so I'm going to give an example in this one. For example, you're playing football with your friend and your friend injures himself. Okay, so there you expect blood to be coming out. So if you haven't offered any help to him, like to stop the blood from coming out, the condition can be worse, which can result into excess loss of blood and death can be there. So another importance of this first aid, it's that it helps to reduce pain and suffering. It helps to reduce pain and suffering. So we've got another one, which is 3, isn't it? This is our number 3, and we have said that it helps to reduce pain and suffering. Okay, it helps reduce pain and suffering. Okay, so for example, you offer help to your friend who has injured himself. Trust me, the pain will be reduced and also the suffering will be reduced. So you see that this first aid, it's very, very important in our days today life. Okay, and the last importance, so there are main importance, but we're just going to state about 4 because in the exam or in the test they cannot tell you to list more than 4. 3 is the maximum. So number 4, we can say that it promotes recovery, isn't it? It promotes recovery, hope and encouragement to the victim. So we can just summarize it that it promotes recovery and hope to the victim. Okay, so this victim that we're talking about, it's the injured or sick person. An injured or sick person is referred to as a victim on the first aid topic. Okay, so this victim is simply the injured person. Even here where we said prevent the victim's condition, the victims were referring to as the person who is sick or the person who is injured. So these are the importances of the first aid. So the first aid is very important in our days today life. Okay, so for the first aid or for the help to be done successfully, there must be a first aid kit. So we've got this first aid kit. Okay, so what do you know by the about this first aid kit? What do you know about this? What is the first aid kit? So the first aid kit is simply it's a small box. This is just a small box that contains items that are used to give help to the sick or injured. Okay, so this first aid kit is just like a small box. Okay, it's just like a small box that you can even carry. You can even carry by yourself without the help of any person. Okay, so we can write the definition for this so that we don't forget what we're talking about, isn't it? So we have said that the first aid kit, okay, the first aid kit is simply a small box. So this is like a small box. This is okay, a small box, that, so this small box, it contains items that are used to give help to the sick or injured, isn't it? Okay, so this is all about the first aid. The first aid is like a small box. This is just a small box that's contained. So here, okay, so here you can add content. So I've got that contains. Okay, so add contains on top there. That contains items that are used to give help to the sick. So the first, if they tell you to define what a first aid is, just say it's a small box that contains items that are used to give help to the sick or injured. Okay, so and this first aid kit, it is usually labeled as first aid. It is usually labeled as first aid. So it's just going, if you just see a box written on it, written first aid, just know that that's a first aid kit. Okay, so we've said that it is usually labeled as first aid. So this is what it is written on it, and it is stored in safe and easily accessible places. It is stored in safe and easily accessible places. So if they tell you that where do they store the first aid kit, just say in the safe and easily accessible place. Okay, so we said that this first aid kit is stored, so you can write it is stored in a safe and easily accessible place. So the reason we store the first aid kit in the safe place is to prevent it from getting stolen, because people can store, hence we keep it in a safe place. And the reason we keep it in an easily accessible place, it's because of emergency. Imagine this emergency, so that will take the life of the victim. So it should be stored in the easily accessible place, where that you can just go and get it, rather than you start looking for it to preserve life of the person. Okay, so this is where it's stored. So if they ask you to state where the first aid is stored, just say it's stored in a safe and easily accessible place. So we talked of what is where we talked of on the definition for first aid kit. We said that the first aid kit, it's a small box that contains items. So it contains these items, isn't it? Let's just highlight the items so that we see what we are meaning. Okay, it stores in the items. So these items are the things that you are going to find in the first aid kit, are the things that you are going to find in the first aid kit, because we said that it contains first aid kit, isn't it? So the first aid kit, it's the same as the first aid box. Okay, so let's see what is contained in that first aid box. What is there in the first aid box? So we've got the first aid box. So don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Okay, so first aid box. What is found in the first aid box? So in the first aid box, you are going to find many things. There are many things that are there in the first aid box, and these are some. So here we have started writing the things that are found in the first aid box. So here you can just add items found. So put in here items found in the first aid box. Okay, so they are as follows. We've got the first aid manual. First aid manual. So we have this, isn't it? The first aid manual. The first aid manual. So what is the function of the first aid manual, or what is the use of the first aid manual that you have written down? So the use of this first aid manual, it contains guideline on how to use the items in a first aid. So this just is a list of guideline on how to use items in the first aid box. Okay, so here you can write, we've said that the first aid manual, it contains, so if they ask you to state the function of it or the use of it, just say it contains guidelines on how to use the items in a first aid, in the first aid box. Okay, so this is just a list that will contain the guideline on how to use items in the first aid box. You're going to find instructions such as use this in this way, this in that way, that and that in the first aid manual. Okay, so apart from the first aid manual, another thing that you will find in the first aid box is the antiseptic. So we've got the antiseptic. Antiseptic. So the antiseptic is used for cleaning wounds to kill germs. This antiseptic is just used for cleaning wounds. So for cleaning wounds to kill germs. So the reason they clean wounds with the antiseptic is to kill germs. So you will also find soap in the first aid kit. You also find soap. So you find also soap. Okay. So what is the use of soap in the first aid kit? The use of soap is simply washing hands and wounds. Washing hands and wounds. Okay, so it's used for washing hands and wounds. Apart from this, you will also, even equipment. Okay, soap is used to wash hands, wounds and equipment. Okay, so apart from the soap, you also find cotton wool in the first aid kit. You also found cotton wool. So these notes are already summarized. Don't summarize it, because if you do summarize, you're going to leave out some important things. So cotton wool, it's another item that you will find in the first aid kit. So cotton wool, it's just used for cleaning and drying wounds. It's just used for cleaning and drying wounds. So if you want to clean a wound, just get the cotton. Okay, so we use a black marker so that we maintain the order. So we said that cotton wool, it's just used for cleaning and drying wounds, isn't it? for cleaning and drying wounds. Okay, you will also find painkillers in the first aid box. You're going to find painkillers. Okay, so what is the use for pain? What is the use of painkillers? So the painkillers are used to relieve pain. So to relieve pain, to reduce pain. And painkillers, you know, painkillers have got Brufen, Panadol, their main etc. So your task for today will be to finish the the items found in the first aid box. Finish the item found in the first aid box. So I've said 1, 2, 3, 4. I've mentioned about 4 or 5. This is 5. So you should add 3. Add 3 things that you will find in the first aid box and submit the answers in my inbox. I want to see how you can handle this. So you can even ask the parents, because this is an assignment. Okay, it's not a work, it's not an exercise, because we have not finished. An exercise will be separate, but you also need to answer this assignment. So this is your assignment. List, apart from this, what that we have mentioned, list 3 items that you find in the first aid box. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. I greet you.